Hi guys, so in this video I'm going to show you how to add and edit headers on your website using the Elementor theme builder. Elementor offer a really easy and a flexible way to add different headers to different sections of your site. The theme builder also includes blocks and full compatibility to virtually any WordPress theme. However, in this tutorial I'll be using the Elementor Hello theme. So what we want to do first is make sure all the pages are set up in the pages section of the site just so that we have pages to create a menu and then use that menu on the nav bar. So the way to do that is firstly make sure all the pages are added by going to the pages and then adding any pages that we feel is necessary. So as you can see, I've already added a few pages, but if you wanted to add more, you just click add new and just add the new page. Once you've added all the pages, what you want to do then is create a menu. So to do that, you just go into Appearance and then just go into Menus. And you'll see a list of all the menus that you have, and then you can use that to start building out your menu. So what you want to do first is make sure the menu name is correct, and this is for backend purposes only, so make it something meaningful like main menu or nav menu, things like that. And then just go through the pages section here and add all the pages one by one that you want. To add pages, you would just select all of the pages like so, and just click add to menu. And then use this section here to change the location of each link. So for example, if I want to move the About Us page slightly up, I would just click and drag up here. Same way I can move things down as well, just by clicking and dragging down and making sure that all the pages are in the order that I want it to be in. Another thing you can do is removing items. So you can either remove items one by one by clicking the drop down and then clicking remove, or you can bulk select a few items if it's more than one and then just click remove selected item. Once I have the items removed and moved in the position that I want, and all I need to do now is make sure that the display location is set to header, and then click Save Menu. And now that's the menu saved. And last thing that we need to do before we start building our header template is making sure that we have a logo set up in the theme section. So to do that, I just go into Appearance and then click Customize. And you want to look for something like site identity, and then in the section where it says logo, you just click select logo and choose the logo that you want. And then once you're done, you click publish. So now that we have our nav menu and our logo set up, we can start adding in a nav bar or header template. So to add a header template, what you want to do is go into the back end of your website, go into templates, and then go into theme builder. And this is what we're using to build all the header templates and any other templates that we make. Once we're in the theme builder, you can see all of the different templates that we have, including header, and you can just go in and select the type of template that you want, and then click the plus sign. So in this case, we just want a header template, so we just click plus, and the page is opened in edit mode with the builder on the left. The first thing that you might see is the Elementor library, so you have the option to either create the header fully from scratch, or if you want, you can pick some of the pro templates that you have available and then make any changes to them if you need to. In this case, we'll just build it from scratch ourselves, but you also have this option. So now you have the header open in edit mode, and right now you can see it's completely empty, no containers or anything, so we can start building in our own. When it comes to building good headers, you want to make sure users have a clear way to navigate through the site and help customers find the information they want quickly. You also want to emphasize important sort of call to actions, such as any buttons to kind of get in touch or to book something or donate, etc. Headings in general include navigation links, a company logo, and call to actions, but they can also include like a tagline. If it's an e-commerce site, you might want to add like a shopping cart icon and any social media icons. So kind of think about what you want displayed and what you want users to be able to do on your site, and then add that to your header. So in this example, we'll just start off with a basic sort of 3-column layout with the call to action, navigation links, and logos. And then we'll move on to any like taglines or social media icons. So for a 3-column link, you just click the add new section, and then pick the 3-column layout. And you have this option here with the 3 equal columns, or you can have this one here with the 3 columns with the middle column being the widest, and then this one here with the middle column being even more wide. So we can click a structure for now and then change it if we need to. So company logo usually goes on the left with the navigation links on the middle and then just a call to action button on the right. So we'll start by adding the logo. So you want to come into the widget section here and look for site logo and just drop that in here. With the site logo, we have different options. So we can change the image size, we can add a caption, we can also add a link. It's good to sort of add a link back to your homepage, as users kind of associate that with linking back to homepage if they want to. And it also saves you from having home as a link on the navigation bar. Within the style tab, you can change the width and add any opacity, CSS filters, things like that. So for example, if we wanted to make it a bit smaller, we would just change the width here. But I'll keep it at 100. If we wanted to change maybe the opacity, we would just drag the opacity filter here and change it if we need to. With the 2 tabs here, we have the normal state and we have the hover state. So while it's in the normal state, opacity is at 1. But if you want to change the opacity at hover, you just click onto the hover tab and then change the opacity here. So now when I hover over the logo here, it just adds the opacity. And it just lets users know that this is something that people can click on. You also have the option to add any CSS filters. So they come default with the blur filter, brightness, contrast, saturation, etc. And then you can choose to add a border and add any border radius. If you want, you can go into the advanced tab here and add any margin or padding, any extra margin or padding. You can also add any motion effects, so things like any scrolling effects, mouse effects. If you want to make anything sticky, you can just go into the advanced tab and make the logo sticky if you want to. You can also add an entrance animation, and this goes for any widget on Elementor. You can add a sort of entrance animation whenever the page first loads, and you can control sort of the way that they load in. So once you've added the logo, next thing you want to do is add the menu. So you want to go to the basic Elementor widgets here and look for menu, or you could just type it in here. And that's the nav menu widget here. And what you want to do is make sure that the menu is selected to the one that you want. So we just have the one menu, which is main menu, and it's used that automatically. And then we have different kind of styling and layout options. So if we go into layout, we can choose either if we want a horizontal layout, or you can also do a vertical layout if you wanted to have a menu on the side. You also have the option of a drop down, which is almost like what it would look like on mobile when you with the drop down, except you can have it for all screen sizes. If you were to pick horizontal, you can change the alignment. So right now it's left aligned, but we can change it to the middle alignment. You can also change it to right or stretch it out so it takes up the whole space. We'll just keep it to center aligned. You also have the option of an underline pointer. So if once I hover over something, you can see there's a little pointer underline. And you can choose if you want to have an underline or even an overline, so the line goes on top. Double line would mean there's 2 lines, a top and at the bottom. Framed will put a box around each link when you hover. And background will put a background around each link when you hover. And the text option just increases the text size in the hover state, so that it's not really a pointer, it just has the increased text size. Or if you want, you can have the option of none. And it just changes the hover color of the text. In this case, we'll just add an underline. And then you can change the different animation styles of the underline. So you can have slide, where it just slides in, grow, drop in, drop out. and then, or you can just click none and just have it normal sort of as you hover. The next option that you have is a submenu indicator. So this is if you had a drop-down menu, say underneath the contact us, for example, there would be a little, in this case, it'd be an arrow, a drop-down arrow, just to let people know there is a submenu underneath it. And you can choose which icon you want for that one. By default, it's just the downward facing arrow. Next thing then is the mobile dropdown. So by default, the breakpoint for mobile dropdown is the tablet, but you can change it to only show on mobile. So whenever it goes into mobile dimensions, it'll automatically change to the mobile toggle. But if you were to change that to tablet, it means it'll drop down during tablet as well. So if I go into tablet, it's now the drop down, or it's now the mobile toggle. But if I were to change that back to mobile, then it'll keep the normal nav links as is on desktop, and then change to the mobile dropdown on mobile. Or you can choose to have none all, so that means it'll always list the same on desktop, tablet, and mobile. It's up to you how you want to do that. Although it is good practice to kind of have the mobile toggle like that. Within the nav menu, you can also choose different stylings. That includes color. So we can change the typography, the text color. Within the text color, we have three different options. So we have three different states that the text can change color for. So you have normal, hover, and active. So normal is just in its normal state. Hover is just if we were to hover over them, we have the option to change the text and pointer color. And then active is if we were on the page, that link is now active and it'll be a different color if we wanted. So for example, if we were to change the hover color to blue, it now changes the hover color to blue. We can change the pointer color as well to match, and we have a different color for the hover state. Same with active, we can change the color here, either using the color picker or any of the default primary colors. So for example, if we were to keep that to green, next time I'm on the About Us page, it will change it to green, just to So for example, if I go into About Us, you can see the color is now green because the About Us page is now active and that link is now active. Back here, we can also change the pointer width and change any of the padding, horizontal, vertical, or change the space between as well if you want to change that. And then obviously we have the drop down as well. So that's again if we had a drop down menu. So for example, if I were to add a drop down menu, you can see now I have the drop down menu here with the sub menu indicator. And if I wanted to change the styling of the drop down menu, I would just click on drop down. And we have different options to change the styling in terms of the nav links. So same as the main menu, we have the three hover state colors that we can change: normal, hover, and active. We can change the text color of that. So for example, if I were to change that to the blue, now when I hover over that, text color is blue. Change the hover color to green. Now when I hover over that, text color is green, and the same with the active. I can change the background color and I can change the typography as well. I also have the option to change the border. So if I were to give it a solid border of 2, you can see now I have a solid border around that drop down. And then give it a border color, border radius. If I were to give it a border radius, just makes it that more curved. And then obviously change any padding, vertical or horizontal. We can also add a divider between each of them. So if I were to have more than one, it would add a little divider line, and we can change the width of it as well if you want to make it more obvious. And then afterwards is the last tab is to change the toggle button. So this is the toggle button on mobile. So if I were to change the responsive mode to mobile, We can change the sort of color. So I can change it to green, and this is the color of the lines. And then we can also change the background color as well. And obviously you don't have to pick the colors and the global colors. You can pick any color through the color picker. It's up to you how you want to do that. But you can pick the background color. You can change the sizing of the toggle button, any borders, border radius, things like that. And then obviously you can also come into the advanced section here and change any padding or margin, things like that. Last thing then is to add some kind of call to action. And as I said previously, the call to action will be important to what, at the end of the day, what you want your customers to do. So if you want customers to get in contact with you, you would add a call to action that says get in touch, contact us, book an appointment, things like that. If you want customers to donate, it'll the button will say sort of donate here, things like that. So you need to think about sort of at the end of the day, what do you want your customers to do? In this example, we'll just have a simple sort of contact us, and it'll link to the contact us page. And this will just be a button just to stand out. So with the button widget, obviously we have the options here. So we have the text, and I'll change that to contact us. And then we have the link. So I will just change that to an internal link, and this will just be the contact us page. And then we can change the alignment as well. And if we want, we can add a heading or sort of an icon. So if we go into the icon library and maybe have a phone option, we have a phone icon just to kind of make it stand out a bit more. And with the button, we also, in the button styling, we also have the option of changing the normal and hover state colors. So for example, if we want to hover and change that to the gray color, we have the option to do that. We can also change the background color as well and give it a background gradient if we wanted to. Just like that. Or we can just keep it to normal. We can give it a hover animation to really let people know that this is something to click on. So if we do the grow animation, we have that, and just kind of get users to click on it, and then give it a border type, give it a solid border or a border radius, and add any extra padding and things like that. And like all the other widgets, you can come into the advanced tab and add any extra margin or padding. Now that you have the basic layout done with all of the widgets that you want added, what you can focus on now is the styling. So for example, you can see it's not all on the same line. By default, everything in columns are top aligned. So what you want to do is sort of align these two in the middle so that it all aligns in one place with the logo. So to align widgets in the middle of a column, what you want to do is click on the column icon that you want changed and look for the vertical align option and just change that to middle. And now you can see the items in this column are vertically aligned to the middle, and it's aligned to the logo now as well. So you want to do the same for the contact us button. Go and click on the column and click on middle align, and now they're all aligned in one place. And it still looks a bit bare, so what I'm going to do is add a sort of box shadow at the bottom. As it is a white background, you want something to kind of separate the header from the actual content of your website. So if I add a box shadow sort of at the bottom, it gives it a sort of depth, and it can sort of keeps the separation between the body of your website and the header. You have the option to kind of style this the way you want. Just click into any widget and then look into the style options and see what works for your site and for your brand. The last thing that you want to make sure to do is make sure that the header is mobile responsive. So as I showed you before, you have the responsive mode here. And what you can do is change the style settings. So for example, any font sizes, any padding, we can make changes to those depending on what screen size it is. So if we were to change the screen size to tablet, you can see everything gets a bit squished because it's using the same padding and typography sizing as desktop. So what you want to do is come into the nav menu here, and where it says typography, you can see now under size A, it's blank, and B, it has this tablet. It just means whenever, if you see any style options that has that tablet icon, it means whatever styling you put, it only applies to tablet and below, so tablet and mobile, unless you have something else specified for mobile. So if I were to change this to mobile, it means anything that you would change now, it would only apply to mobile. This is blank for now, means it's taking its styling from the desktop, but if we were to change that to 12, it's no longer taking the styling from desktop. As you can see, if you go back into typography, we've got the icons on all of these, and it means you can have different settings for space between, vertical padding, horizontal padding, pointer width for tablet. It means you can make them responsive. So if we were to change space between here, you can see the space between is now 2, but if we go back on tablet, or if we go back on desktop, it goes back to 25. And mobile, because we haven't set anything on mobile yet, it just means it'll just take from the one above, which is tablet, unless we specify something different. So just going back to tablet, you can see it's still a bit squished because of the writing here. So what you want to do is go into the contact us button and go into style and look for the typography there. And you can see the size has a little tablet icon. So we'll change that. And what we can do is change the column and padding also. And you can see it all fits a little bit better now, just at the bottom here. So next, if we move on to mobile, you can see it still looks a bit awkward, and you want to maybe change the layout slightly so the logo doesn't have to be that big and it shouldn't take up so much space on the website. What you want to do with mobile is to maybe change the layout of some of the columns as well. So for example, this column here, you can see the column width is 100, so it's going to take up 100% of the screen. Instead, what you want to do is change that to maybe to something like maybe 40, and then to bring this one up, what you want to do is change this one to 60. And now you have the logo and the icons sitting on one line, and this kind of helps not make the header so big and take up any unnecessary space. And again, you can tidy this up. So if I go into the nav menu icon here, you can see the toggle align, it's center align, but we can change it to the right. And then it's up to you if you want to keep sort of the contact us that same size, or you can change it slightly. But again, just to make sure that the header isn't taking up a lot of space, because you want to have space for content on at the bottom. But once you're happy with everything and you've checked it on mobile and you're happy with the layout and everything, what you want to do is make sure that it's being applied to the pages that you want. So you want to come down here, and under Save Options, you want to click Display Conditions. And for you, this might show up blank, and what you want to do is click Add Condition. And then by default, it'll add entire site, so meaning that this header will show up on the entire site. But the cool thing about Elementor is that it gives you full flexibility on where you want to display your template. So you have this set for the entire site, but if you wanted to have this shown on a specific page only, so for example, just the About Us page, what you want to do is click Add Condition. Instead of entire site, you want to click Singular, and then you want to click on Pages. And instead of all, you just want to look for the page that you want it on. So we'll just do About Us. And now this is this header will only show on the About Us page. So for example, if I were to go back onto the home page, you can see it's just the default theme homepage. But if I were to go to the About Us page, it's the page that I want. And you can do this, you can have different headers for different pages. You can have different headers for different posts. So for example, if I wanted to have a header just for the posts, you can just click on the posts and then either have a specific post, or you can change it to posts in certain categories. So if you would have a category separation in your posts, then you can select which category that you want it in, and it'll only show up in the post that you want it in. Same with archives, so it's up to you if you want to have different headers for different posts archive or category archives. Same with the singular, you can have it in different landing pages and different posts if you want to have different headers depending on post by author or child of different posts, things like that. So you have full flexibility on how many headers you want and where they can be displayed on your website. But once you're happy with everything, you just click save and close, and that'll be your header done. And obviously with Elementor, you just go back into the theme builder and edit and come back to edit it if you need to. So if I go back to theme builder, you have Elementor header here, and I can go in and change it anytime.